Hello, it's Riikka Kovasin here with a new video, and this time I'm making an art journaling spread. This spread has maybe a unusual starting point. I just wanted to try something new in a way, or give you something new. So the first thing I'm doing for this spread is, well, the background, but for what I'm using it to make it is a napkin. So I actually found this particular napkin from a sale, so it was really cheap. And I really like the pattern because it's from Finnish brand called Kalevala Koru, which refers to our, Kalevala, and also those designs they have are from these Stone Age actual jewelry finds that they have. So they are from the Finnish soil in that case. I'm using just collaging medium to secure it on top of cardstock and then letting the project dry. After drying, I then cut the background to correct size to fit inside my art journal, and then I'm adding some paint on top. I really like the design because it's showing those jewelry pieces, but I'm just wanting to add something of my kind of own to that. So I'm adding these paint touches here and there. Mainly I stick with the same color scheme that's already in there, so going with yellows, but I also added this kind of a peachy tone to the mix, giving it a little bit something extra. After I have then these clusters of paint, let's say, done, I let the project dry and use those same colors to add some color to a piece of cardstock. This is going to be a design element a little bit later stage. I'm also using the same paints to add some color to this focal lady. I'm then adding to the project, coloring the pendant she has with some yellow and also adding touches of that peachy color to her dress. For that, I'm just using my finger to get a light touch of color. I'm not trying to paint the whole thing peachy, but just add a little bit of color there. I'm also adding splashes to the background, and a little bit later stage also these mark making things where I actually used my pinky to put those peachy colored dots to the background. Next, I'm then adding a pattern on top of the yellow painted cardstock with another stamp and then some stamping also to the background. For the yellow painted cardstock, I used just yellow ink, so it's kind of yellow on yellow, subtle texture, but for the background I opted for darker tones, adding a little bit of contrast that way. So it's brown ink, and then I'm using another brown ink to add some stenciling on top. Kind of just adding these clusters of pattern here and there, binding the elements that are already in there together. I'm then using the same ink to go around the edges of the paper, kind of adding this vintage touch to that way, and also inking around the elements. Then it's time to start the actual composition. For that, I first cut the piece in half, so I again know where the seam in my art journal will be, because I use spiral bound art journals because, my pages are so dimensional that that's kind of the only way to go for me. I'm then adding this horizontal element by using masking tape. Then the yellow painted cardstock became this moon, crescent moon, and I used the brown ink also to ink around the edges to highlight that shape. And then a backing element for the focal lady. I opted for this smaller tag and also a brown one, so it's a little bit like giving her a background, a backdrop, so she doesn't get lost to the patterns, because those are quite visually solid patterns, or kind of overpowering in a way, that are in the background. I'm next adding some old paper there keeping in the tones of the yellowish and brownish that tones I have going, and using just double-sided tape to adhere that piece in place. I'm also using another piece of old paper to add to the focal cluster, adding this little torn edge there. Then I'm making a kind of a complementary little cluster to the bottom right corner to balance things out. For that I'm using a piece of old paper and also a piece of that crescent moon, kind of the cut out. So I'll just use that one as well. And then inking, so it's kind of continuing the same line. Then I have these bigger elements that I cut out of the napkin. They are also secured to the cardstock, so they are sturdy enough, not just a flimsy napkin layer. And I chose this bird, even though it's kind of looking the other way. I would have liked it to watch towards right rather than left, but that one actually covered the lady altogether, so it was kind of an easy solution then to pick this one. As you could see, there's a little bit of jump there. I added some little details here and there, and also some black in form of this twine, kind of adding a little bit of contrast to the background. Then I chose the title to the page using the word empower, because that's what these jewelries are all about. After I get that one and a little bit doodling in place, I then use double-sided tape to secure the pages to my art journal, and after that the spread is done. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked the video, and if you want to know more about Kalevala Koru, I'll also add a link to their site in English to the description box. There you can also find all the materials listed. I'll be seeing you in a week, and thanks again for watching. Bye!